Hey, there's Noah with the Creative Startup, and today we are going to be looking at the horrible, the evil, the infamous topic of networking. So I'm sure all of us have bad associations with the word networking, or at least somewhat negative associations with it. See, networking is this thing we're told to do in college where it's like, meet the right people and you get in with the right people and then they kind of make things work for you, and it's all about connections, all about who you know. So you just got to kind of go to these parties, go to these shows, shake these hands and get these numbers, get these business cards, and you're good. That's how you network. And I don't know about you, but to me, that always just felt really slimy. Like, I don't want to go. I think being around people is a lot of work, and I'm an extrovert for the most part. And even still, being around people is work. And so trying to make all these connections and make all these kind of half friendships that have no real meaning other than what I get out of that person just has never felt right to me. I don't like the idea of interacting, that kind of social dynamic. It's just kind of gross and draining, quite honestly. So today we're going to be looking at this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, seeing what he has to say about meeting people, how to genuinely meet people, what's the secret, what's the trick to make people like you, to make people want to talk to you, and to make you want to talk to them, make it an interesting interaction. So I'm going to read just a paragraph from this book, and then we're going to look at 3 ways that you can be better at networking without being slimy, without being gross. So the paragraph says, I'm not going to read it out of the book because I don't want to have to find it, so I got it here on my computer. It says, you knew by some divine instinct that you make more friends in 2 months by becoming genuinely interested in other people than you can in years by trying to get other people interested in you. Let me repeat that. You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. I love that point. I love that. It's all about interest. It's not about what you want from them. It's not about smiling the right way and putting your lips and yeah, nice, interesting. It's about genuinely being interested in people. And if you can do that, if you can be interested in other people, if you can invest in them by just listening, by being curious about who they are, they're going to want to talk to you. They're going to want you around. They're going to want to work with you, not even based on your professional skills, but just based on your personality. Because people love talking about themselves. So let's look at 3 ways that we can kind of hone this in, chip this down to a good networking tactic that's actually helpful and enjoyable and easy and simple. So the first thing that you have to do is be humble. Know your place in a room. Right? So if you're at the recording studio, I've seen this all the time. So I'll be in the recording studio. I'm kind of the head producer on whatever we're doing. We got the guitars, we got all the musicians in there. And then some person who doesn't have anything to do, somebody's girlfriend, somebody's mom, whatever it is in there trying to give input to the project. They're trying to have an opinion. They're trying to say something. And a lot of people do this because it's a way of networking, right? They're showing you that they know something so that maybe you'll have them work with you next time. Bad tactic. Does not work. Again, that's trying to get people interested in you. That's you sharing your opinion. So when you're in a social setting, do a good analysis of what's going on in the room. Who's there? Who's there in the room? And know your place. Know when you really probably should just shut up and observe what's happening. And if someone asks you something, respond. Maybe if you're with friends or with peers and somebody new comes into the group, then talk to them. Then really engage and be part of it. But for the most part, just be humble. Check yourself. Make sure you're in the right place at the right time and not spouting off when you should be shutting up. Second point to make. Don't be afraid to be a fool. I was sitting in class the other day, and it's a writing class, and we have to do these interviews. And what I love to do for interviews is just really humbly, really openly tweet out to people who I respect to see if they'll just answer my question. Say, hey, I know you're good at this. I aspire towards this. I'm a student. Maybe I don't say I'm a student, but I aspire towards this. I know you're way ahead of me. what do you do? What's your best piece of advice? What's one little piece of advice I can get from you to help propel me forward? And I was sharing this tactic with the group, with the class. We were kind of having an open discussion, and one of the girls was just sitting there like, no, like I feel so stupid doing that. I want to be like the dumb little student with the backpack and be like, oh, tell me all your secrets. What do you know? Because she's like, that makes me feel lower than them. It makes me feel lower than them. Guess what? You are lower than them. You are. If someone's advice is worth taking, then they better be like 10 years ahead of you. They better be like leaps and bounds better than you at whatever you're doing if you're going to be taking their advice. So you're going to have to be super humble, because in order to be interested in people, you have to listen to them. You have to take their advice. You have to ask them questions that make you look like just a little stupid college kid with your backpack on, like, teach me more, tell me more, because that's what makes people feel honored. People love being respected. They love it when you listen to them. They love it when you are genuinely interested, like they have something that you don't know. So that's the second thing. Don't be afraid to be a fool. And the third, don't be too afraid to share a little bit about yourself. This is another thing I've actually seen in my writing class, is we had to write these like autobios, and then we had to write regular biographies and elevator pitches. Just kind of like, what are you about? What do you do? So, someone says, hey, I'm so-and-so, I do this. How about you? What do you do? And then you have to share a little bit. And a lot of the people in my class were like, oh, I have such a hard time talking about myself. I have such a hard time talking about myself. Now, this is not a feeling that I relate to. To be honest, like, I can be too narcissistic sometimes, so I do not struggle to talk about myself. But I know that's a big issue for a lot of people. And the trick is to know your worth in the industry. Know what it is you have to offer. Develop that pitch, right? And so when someone asks you, what do, you don't spend 10 minutes telling them. But you're confident in what you do say. People aren't offended by your confidence. People are offended if you go on and on and on and on about yourself. They don't want to hear it. That's obnoxious. That's annoying. That doesn't allow them to talk. That's bad networking. That's bad just social interaction in general. But if you can keep your pitch, your elevator pitch, your just brief, who are you, what do you do, really short, really concise, and really confident. Say, I am this. I aspire to do this because I have this skill and I'm good at this. Like for me, my basic elevator pitch is, I'm an entrepreneur and a producer who is super interested in economics and philosophy, and I'm trying to bridge the gap between musicians and business so that we can take the music industry forward into the future and help artists understand business and business understand artists. Now that might seem like a big thing, and sometimes I'll throw in like, I feel that I have a brain for philosophy and economics and all this stuff, because it's true. I aspire to that stuff. I'm attracted to that stuff. I'm interested in it, and it comes easy to me to understand most of it. But that's at least brief. It's less than 30 seconds long. I don't go on about myself, and that's who I am. It's punchy. It's confident. There you go. So that way I don't take up all of your time when I should be asking you about yourself. So again, to go back over those 3 points, it's be humble and know your place in a room, right? So if you're among really big rock star people, head of the industry, you should probably shut up as much as possible. Speak if spoken to. So then the second part is, don't be afraid to be a fool. When it does come to asking these people questions, when it does come to networking with people, and you want to be networking with people who are above you, higher than you, or else you're just then you're just making friends. But if you're networking, you have to be moving up. And if you want to do that in a good way, don't be afraid to be the fool. Ask the dumb questions that little college kids ask, and be humble about it, and be genuinely interested in what they have to say. Don't be afraid of being a little fool. And third, don't be afraid to talk confidently about yourself. Sorry, there's a dog barking. We just got a puppy. But don't be afraid to talk confidently about yourself, who you are, what you're about, and just keep it short, keep it brief, but keep it strong and punchy. So I hope that helps you guys. I hope that broadens your idea of networking to not be this super evil, ugly thing, that it can actually be a nice way to connect with people, and good things can come of it. So if that's helpful for you, please click the subscribe button down below. I'm going to try to throw a link to this How to Win Friends and Influence People on there. So If you want to click on that, get the book. It's a great book. I promise you, you won't regret it. Great purchase. See you next week. Thanks.